As I struggled through the particularly laborious process of writing a chapel speech, I had an epiphany, or rather, credit where credit's due, my dad did. As it turns out, I am not very good at writing about myself. It's boring, and I can never quite get things flowing. Now, how writing about myself is difficult is much easier. But I'll try to keep the incepting to a minimum. And with that said, I'd like to talk about many, but not all, of my favorite things about Brooks, in no particular order. First up, peanut butter bagels. As my 9th year on this campus and my 5th year of dining hall breakfasts, I can definitively say that peanut butter bagels in the morning are amazing. Having that conveyor belt toaster back from my last semester has improved my quality of life to an almost embarrassing degree. But speaking of quality of life, I spent about 5 hours during the Heads holiday playing board games. Specifically, Cyclades with the Titans expansion, and Seven Wonders with the Armada expansion. These expansions were necessary because Mr. Hesse has been running board game sessions for a bunch of years. And a couple others and myself have been doing their best to go to all of them. If you ever want to have large amounts of dopamine pumped through your brain, then Mr. Hesse will gladly explain any and all of the board games that showcase how antiquated Monopoly is. It does help when there are others who are just as happy to play a game for 3 hours. I'm very appreciative for Sarah, Tianchu, and Mr. Wyatt, as well as Mr. Hesse, for playing some Cyclades on Tuesday, even if they all ganged up on me. While I'm always happy to expound upon certain board games, I don't want to ignore video games. 3 years ago, Mr. Dobbins would gather a group of Thorn boys and head down to the library. They would use the 17 computers in the PC lab to play an old Call of Duty for an hour or so. One crash course later, and Mr. Dobbins relinquished the Call of Duty sessions to me, for which I'm extremely grateful. The rest is history, unless you've never been to a Call of Duty Saturday night session, Allie. In which case, you should. It's fun. I'll let a growing collection of all-school emails speak for me, to paraphrase a particular chapel hymn. I should mention, I really enjoy reading, movies, and discussions. So the fact that I love my dad's English class might bring up a discussion on nature versus nurture. Do I like the class because we dissect and discuss movies, or has dissecting and discussing movies for my entire life given me that predisposition? Either way, I seem to have enjoyed Apocalypse Now in all of its slow, paced glory. And The Departed, I'm realizing, can be broken down into a set of dichotomies such that each scene mirrors another. Would recommend if you also like varying levels of authenticity in your Boston accents. Not everyone in our class agrees with me on either movie, though, which is where we get some particularly passionate opinions and subsequent discussions. There are many more things that are awesome. Weekend movie trips, for one, because watching a movie can only get better with people to complain to after. Winter term is and will always be a good idea. The amount of people who actually dedicated an hour or two every Friday to learn how to unicycle is both surprising and not. I know unicycling is fun, but I thought I'd have to work a bit harder to persuade everyone else. My mom qualifies as awesome for, at the very least, putting up with my attempted artwork a couple years ago, and at a slightly higher level, dealing with the college process in a sane manner, and still making me carbonara sometimes. My brother Mason is not yet a part of Brooks, despite his efforts to sneak onto the squash team, but I am rather glad that someone will be unicycling after I'm gone. I know Allie won't. But that's fine. Because I know she'll be too busy running the board game club. No. Oh well. I guess she could just continue getting better grades than me in everything. At least, video. And you'll only hear me say this once, I have better dance moves.
Right hand, right 2, 3, left 2, 3. Oh, now your knees, right elbow, walks around and face your partner. Here we go. Heel, toe, slide. Other way back. Slide. Right hand, right, left, both hands. Now your knees, right elbow, walks around, face your partner. Hold it there. Okay.
Finally, to top my metaphorical peanut butter bagel, I would like to disrespect one of our school's mottos. Quote, "We seek to provide the most meaningful educational experience our students will have in their lives," end quote. It's a little depressing, I guess. Is high school really going to be the best part of our entire life? I hope not. But unfortunately for my antagonism towards this motto, so far Brooks has been the most meaningful experience, educational or no, of my life. Thankfully, I'm not done with Brooks yet. Thanks.